This month, ABC News Live and GMA3 are kicking off the series Culture Conversations. Tonight, we bring you a conversation between renowned chef and recipient of multiple James Beard Awards, Marcus Samuelsson, and founder of Timeless Catering, Chef Angie Kingston. Together, they discuss the evolution of Black chefs in the restaurant space and whose palates they are trying to attract. Byron Pitts has our conversation.
We're going to talk about food and what sort of intersects with culture and activism. I like this idea that in thinking about, when I think about food and the ingredients and the salt and pepper, that what I hear you say is that one of the ingredients is intentionality.
I remember the call I got around 2000 from Maya Angelou. She had summoned us. Right. I was super nervous. And you enter a space where there were so many incredible Black icons. And she said, we're going to create a change in Harlem. All of you guys need to move your businesses or do something here. Marcus, you can cook, you should open a restaurant. 8 years later, that's Red Rooster.
It reminds me of the legendary stories about Pascal's Restaurant in Atlanta.
Yes,
There was a gathering place where all the Black leadership would safely gather and strategize and be intentional. How do you two know each other?
When Red Rooster opened, the only department that was open was pastry. So I applied to work pastry, and one of the things actually that I vividly remember that shocked me a little was you were front and present. You were at the restaurant, you were on the line, and I had never been in a space where the owner of the restaurant was front and present. I remember one day, I believe you made like staff meal, and I just remember thinking, wow, like, it's so amazing that you're so attached to this place that you would be here all the time.
I would imagine you just being of a different generation of a certain age, that wasn't perhaps what you always did, or certainly wasn't always easy. How did you get to the space in which you decided, this is who I am, and I'm showing up as that guy every single time?
I couldn't do it alone. I come from a tribe. My parents, my mentors, the chefs before me. So anyone who says, I'm self-made, I did this, I'm almost like, you're lonely, you got this wrong. I'm a representative of about 100 people.
Part of what I hear you both say reminds me of a conversation I had years ago with John Lewis. And I asked him, you know, the success of the civil rights movement and what potentially are some of the modern day weapons that people can use to be successful in justice and civil rights. He says, oh, Byron, it's the same weapon as before, excellence. People will accept eventually who you are, what you're there for. And that it led you to your activism.
I'm the director of events for a nonprofit called Black Chef Movement. Black Chef Movement was born out of protests. So when the pandemic happened and the George Floyd protest erupted, a college friend of mine was like, how do we help? And so we know food, we turn to food. And so we started to prepare food for the protesters. So when I'm preparing a meal and I'm serving it in a community where I've been told, thank you, without this, I don't know how I would have eaten tonight. That's a different kind of joy, but it is joy.
Who knew? I got in an Uber to go to a beautiful New York City restaurant to talk to two chefs, and I met two activists.
I think food has always been a way to gather. I think it's something that we put up a first part here was we're going to lead with joy.
Now, my waistline confirms, I've been in a lot of restaurants in my lifetime, right? But I've never seen that. When
I was coming up in the kitchen world, I never saw people of color and I never saw women. So that journey started with Red Rooster. I said, I'm going to open up open kitchens so people see who does the work. It's going to be a place that Black excellence can thrive. And when we opened Havmar, was how do we turn that one step further? And then focusing on women of color in leadership positions is the best decision I've ever done. The only thing I'm upset about, I should have done it earlier.
But does that kind of success come at a price? Like, who are you now creating for? Is it for Black folk? Is it for the approval of white folk?
You have to have arrogance on this side and be humble on this side, right? And when the best work is when they clash, but you gotta never take away your arrogance, because that's how you create. And as Black people, very often, food is a language that the writing community didn't change. So I was creating very often stuff from an African space where the language of the writing community didn't even know what that was, right? So maybe we have to label it in order for people to understand it. We open up that room and not only get more Black chefs, but also get larger on the writing side, because we need the writers that sort of kind of like transport our content out there to understand what we're doing.
There's this notion that, like, how your success, it seems to me, in some ways comes out of struggle. Like someone told you no and forced you to go find yes. Your success, while there is also struggle, comes out of a spirit of abundance. However we as a people move forward, that's part of the journey, that there are people who have to have the struggle story. And there's always going to be struggle, but there are people whose success can come out of abundance. Like, he was told no and made it. You were told, yeah, baby, yes, sure, absolutely. And, you know, it's different, but it's on the same path.
But it also shows that we're going in the right direction. And I just think that I hear that story, and you know how many times she could have called her friend, her girlfriend, her parents, and said, I'm out, I'm leaving this. And I know you couldn't call your parents and say, because your parents separated, and they would be like, no,
not my mom.
You're staying.
Absolutely
but
not.
that's amazing, because the easiest way out would have been, this is not for me, I'm starting again. But you stuck in there, and there is a reward, there is something beyond, you know, the hidden paycheck, right? And you stuck in there and hung in there, and it wasn't the coolest thing to do, and you were searching, but you did it. And that's what you now can tell your staff as they're searching, and that's what you're going to continue to do.
Agreed, yes. From your lips to God's ears.
And the church said.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you both.
Great job. Great job.
Love that discussion. Our thanks to Byron Pitts. And you can check out these culture conversations every Wednesday night streaming on ABC News Live and Hulu. Plus, our half-hour special on ABC News Live, Culture Conversations, featuring many more chats like this one, airs Friday, February 24th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.